of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
What do we do now?
Back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Fuck Joe Biden.
Refuse to go along with this, and I'm seeing through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
Welcome back to another night of Stick with Koolfrogg. Let's hope that I'm not sitting alone for the whole night. This should be fairly fun. It's a little different than what I had been doing. I did some different style of research today. Let's start it off with something that will probably get taken away from me because of what it is, which I'm totally fine with. That was probably one of my favorite songs that has ever been made. That is the Stars and Stripes Forever. And I'm pretty sure that's gonna be taken away from me. It's just a matter of time for YouTube to be like, "Oh, wait a minute. You can't play music like that?" Whatever. Go F. I really don't care. Because today is Independence Day, and we should be able to be independent enough to actually do what we want, when we want, how we want. Just saying. So, what I was gonna do today, we're gonna go through some. It's gonna be fun. This is gonna be a little different than what we had ever really done. Let's see here. We started off with this little article here. This is how the Declaration of Independence inspired George Washington's underdog army to win. Deeply moved by the power of the Declaration, George Washington ordered copies sent to all generals in the Continental Army. Most Americans celebrating the July 4th holiday don't fully realize that the power of the ideas of the Declaration of Independence was the critical enabling factor for the Americans to win the War of Independence. Compared to the British professional military, the American colonial army was simply no match. It was undermanned, underfunded, under-equipped, inexperienced, and undertrained. At the outset of the war, the British Royal Navy had 270 warships deployed in American waters, while the Continental Navy had 7 ships. On July 4th, 1776, in what is now Manhattan, New York, General George Washington was preparing for battle. He had no idea that the Declaration of Independence was being released in Philadelphia that day as he pondered the sobering stream of British ships coming through the Narrows and anchoring off Staten Island in New York Harbor. A month before, Washington had written a letter to his brother saying, "We expect a very bloody summer of it in New York. If our cause is just, as I do most religiously believe it to be, the same providence which in many instances appeared for us will still go on to afford it its aid." Awesome, Divinity. That's awesome. I can't wait to watch it. On July 4th, 1776, in Philadelphia, it was also a somber day when those 56 members of the Continental Congress committed to signing the Declaration of Independence. Each knew that becoming a signatory put a death warrant on their heads for being a traitor to Great Britain. Thus, the first Declaration of Independence that was signed on July 4th did not have signatures identifying the committed delegates. Rather, there were 2 signatures on the first document: John Hancock, President of the Continental Congress, and Charles Thompson, Secretary of the Continental Congress. It took more than 2 weeks for the Declaration to be engrossed, that is, written in parchment in a clear hand. Oh, Imposter Shirts, what's up, man?
Yo, yo, what's up?
Not much, not much. We're gonna have some fun Independence Day, stuff, whatever, as opposed to spewing political rhetoric and whatever else. It's a little different than what we've done, but for Independence Day, I figured, hey, why not? Let's try something different. So then I'm reading this little here from, it says the Declaration of Independence inspired George Washington's underdog army to win. So then a couple paragraphs down in here. So this is the first Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, did not have signatures identified the committed delegates. Rather, there were 2 signatures on the first document: John Hancock, President of the Continental Congress, and Charles Thompson, Secretary of the Continental Congress. It took more than 2 weeks for the Declaration to be engrossed. That is, written on parchment in a clear hand. Many of 56 delegates to the Continental Congress who had agreed to sign the document did so on August 2nd. but new delegates replaced some 6 of the original delegates, and an additional 7 delegates could not sign until many weeks later. Recognizing the long odds against the small and under-equipped American colonial army defeating the British Army and Navy, the most formidable military force in the world, the Continental Congress decided to hold the 56th signatory declaration for release at a later time. Washington's first read of the Declaration. Washington was in New York preparing its defense when on July 6, 1776, a courier arrived to deliver a copy of 2 signature Declaration of Independence and had released it in Philadelphia several days before. Deeply moved by the power of the Declaration's words, Washington ordered copies sent to all generals in the Continental Army, and that the chaplains be hired for every regiment to assure that every officer and man will endeavor so to live the act, as becomes a Christian soldier, defending the dearest rights and liberties of his country. Like the Mayflower Compact, the Declaration was a true covenant of covenant with God of absolute commitment, with its last sentence invoking, with a firm reliance and protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other's lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Washington read the Declaration repeatedly and became so moved that on July 9th he called a halt to his troops, battleship preparations, and announced a respite and gathering to read the Declaration to his soldiers and the townspeople. The crowd hustled down to the lower Manhattan, where they gazed out at a forest of masts of the British ships at the anchor in New York Harbor. After the reading, when a few of the rowdies in the group spotted a statue of King George III, they pulled it down, to others' tumultuous cheers. In August, about 35,000 professionally trained and well-equipped British and Haitian mercenary soldiers had arrived on some 400 British ships. The number of soldiers under Washington's command had some turnover since leaving Boston, but had grown slightly to about 18 to 19,000, with recent enlistees, primary farmers, fishermen, and artisans, having no training. When engagement with the British finally commenced on Long Island in August 27, the colonial army was quickly overwhelmed and more than 1,000 taken prisoners. Washington decided to retreat from Long Island back to Manhattan to regroup in hope of fighting more successfully another day. It's quite an article here. It is not to be over the next 2 months, as Washington's troops faced 2 more devastating routs in New York, with 6 times more casualties than the British suffered and several thousands taken as prisoners. Washington was forced to leave New York in total and abject defeat. It had been decided to place the remaining American troops active in the New York campaigns under General Lee and Gates. Washington would lead the rest and make their way south through New Jersey to Philadelphia. But for a gallant few among about 3,500 marching with Washington, nearly all thought the War of Independence was lost. Washington's greatest challenge then was maintaining the morale, confidence, and loyalty of his diminished and discouraged troops. Crossing over into Pennsylvania in early December, Washington's army encamped on the banks of the Delaware River. Washington's faith in God, providence, and his belief in the cause of independence sustained him. But he knew at this point only a decisive victory could bring about a reversal of fortune. Just days later, intelligence from a spy revealed that large contingent of German, how do I say this here? Hessins, Hessians? Is that Hessians? Because it's not Haitians. They're not from Haiti. Under British command was occupying Trenton, only 9 miles away. Washington immediately began planning what would become the legendary crossing of the Delaware on Christmas night to march and strike at Trenton. The surprise attack that ensued early in the morning of December 26 was a resounding victory. A few days later, another intelligence tip was delivered. Washington decided to make a second surprise attack on British regulars encamped in nearby Princeton. Leading from the front, Washington displayed such courage, with 1,000 deaths flying around him, that his men fought with greater vigor than ever and inspired the local townspeople to grab their arms and join in the fight. In short order, there were many more British than American casualties, resulting in defeat with the surrender of some 300 redcoats. Victory inspired by the Declaration's ideas. Perceiving this dual miracle as a harbinger of more victories to come, and perhaps with many recognizing the power of Providence and the vital importance of these ideas manifest in Declaration, the Continental Congress ordered the reprinting and dissemination to all the colonies and now famous 56 signature Declaration of Independence on January 18, 1777. More than 6 months after the original document had been drafted and approved. The Revolutionary War would grind on for nearly 4 more years. In the end, although Washington's Continental Army lost 6 major battles and won only 3, Washington's courage, sacrifice, and persistence inspired and sustained everyone around him. Of the 56 signers of the Declaration, 9 fought and died from wounds or hardships of the Revolutionary War. 2 had sons serving in the Continental Army who died. Another 5 signers were captured and tortured as traitors and later died. 12 of the 56 Declaration signers had their homes looted and destroyed. A willingness to sacrifice all if necessary. The Americans' willingness to sacrifice was displayed during the Battle of the Yorktown from September 28th to October 19th, 1781. The decisive and final battle of the War for Independence. Thomas Nelson Jr., a signer of the Declaration of Independence, who succeeded Thomas Jefferson as governor of Virginia, was a native to Yorktown. When Nelson learned that his Yorktown home had been taken over and occupied as a military headquarters for British General Charles Cornwallis, he urged Washington to aim his cannons and open fire on his home. Nelson's home was destroyed, and a few weeks later, Cornwallis surrendered and acknowledged the American final victory for its complete independence. In the minds of many, Washington remains the greatest founding father because of his fearless courage in battle, his incredible perseverance against unfathomable odds, and his faith in Providence that provided protection and empowered him to achieve the impossible. As he reflects to the meaning of July 4 this year, we should celebrate and take heart that the same good ideas and principles, natural God-given rights expressed in the Declaration of Independence that inspired Washington are as today as they were then. With renewed courage, those who believe in these ideas will be empowered to make good triumph over evil. I know. You're going to be like, what? What am I saying? What do I have to... Because it's going to be hard to actually like come up with something to actually come back on and say, well, this, that, and the other. Because they're only trying to actually tell us the truth of things that had occurred and happened. And, you know, it is what it is. Tell me to stop if you think this is stupid. AmericaShirts. Did you walk away? Did I put you to sleep? Okay. Sounds good. So it says, if you don't want the woke bureaucrats to ruin America's 250th birthday, start planning now. Again, this is written today. This is only a 6-minute read. So, as we approach America's 250th birthday, we're uniquely divided because of its belief in America herself that divides. We are 4 years from celebrating our nation's 250th birthday, a remarkable milestone for innumerable and ineffable reasons. The odds were stacked against us, are stacked against us, starting from our own successful overthrow of the world's most powerful king to the barbarism of the Civil War. Through economic crashes, dust bowls, and scourge of slavery, the rise of Hitler and the Cold War, yet America lives on. The miracle of America deserves annual celebration commanded by Founding Fathers John Adams, and does so much more so on her remarkable 250th birthday. It is a celebration of all the world, for all the world is better because America was born. It would take extensive preparations and patriotism to do it justice. We know the celebration will center in Philadelphia and that the website has been created, but the site is already sprinkled with stories emphasizing left wing causes. America deserves to have her leadership throw a great celebration that celebrates our unity more than it accentuates our differences. I don't know if such a celebration is even possible. America Shirts, are you with me? Okay. America deserves to have her leadership throw a great celebration that celebrates our unity more than it accentuates our differences. But, I already read that. I'm sorry. A house divided. We're uniquely divided in America right now because of the beliefs in America herself that divides too many elected Americans, officials who took an oath to uphold the Constitution, have such incredible disdain for the nation, her history, her values, her legacy. Just look at when the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization ruling by the Supreme Court ruling received reactions from members of Congress unthinkable a decade ago. Senator Elizabeth Warren, a former Harvard law professor, called the court illegitimate. Maxine Waters, a member of Congress since 91, said, "To hell with the Supreme Court." And Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, a graduate of Thomas Jefferson's own University of Virginia law program, declared the Supreme Court a weapon. This is the language of political insanity, so full of anger and contempt toward America and her institutions for daring to defy their own political aspirations. The most vocal Democrats propose to practically abolish America altogether, pack the Supreme Court, and the Electoral College. Dragon Man, how's it going? He says, I don't see a reconciliation in my lifetime. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say to you on that. I really don't. If America Shirts has something to say about that, he totally can. He didn't say that he was going to walk away, but he seems to not be with me. I don't know what's going on. Even the executive branch charged with upholding the law is a complete defiance. Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra said as much. So did the Department of Justice. And that is the epitome of irony. When the Pentagon, the one that all the guns in the tanks, promises to disobey SCOTUS and the concept of the rule of law, then we are not one nation, indivisible, and certainly not under God. We are a house divided. Even if we could unite under the great jubilee of 2026, the events would be a monster, the bastard child of political wokeness and white liberal guilt, a shapeless, unbeautiful eyesore full of shame and self-loathing. A concert on the mall, white music or what music? I'm sorry. Not American greats like George Gershwin or Aaron Copland because someone would protest because they are white men. A rock star like Pink, she wants a half of America to never freaking listen to my music again because of Dobbs. I guess we can always count on Bruce Springsteen to sing some I Hate America theme songs, but not for Republicans, as he told then Governor Chris Christie. Kind of monument could we agree on? Imagine the 2026 committee proposing a new monument on the National Mall. It's laughable. A monument to whom? About what? Not the founding fathers. Some of them had slaves. Not the Constitution. It was written by some people who had slaves. Not fearing the slaves because even Abraham Lincoln didn't do enough to end slavery, prompting a California school to rename a high school. Nothing from America's past quite lives up to the impeccable standards of modern leftists holds deeply to his, her, zer, they, tippy tum tum heart. And so, therefore, nothing is to be celebrated. Sackcloth and ashes, usque ad mortem. I can see the monument born from the brain trust of the 250th Anniversary Planning Committee and the Columbus Genocide Indigenous People Enslaved Memorial of Harvey Milk in Korematsu and climate awareness. It would be a glass cube, but inevitably someone at the Atlantic would pan its right angles as symbols of the Western patriarchy. No proper 250th monument could ever be built. Besides, there aren't enough foreign born, Marxist trained, gender fluid, non white sculptors for the selection committee's contest. As a side note, the beloved World War II memorial on the National Mall would receive millions of visitors a year, and over 200,000 World War II veterans in honor flights was universally panned during its construction. The Boston Herald called it vainglorious, demanding of attention, and full of trite imagery. The Philadelphia Inquirer didn't hold back, writing its pompous style had favored by Hitler and Mussolini. It also worth noting it took years to approve the construction. We've got four about 250th and there's nothing in the works. Yeah, nothing. There's nothing that's actually being started, dedicated, any of that. What do you celebrate about America? Yet it's not too late to give America the proper celebration. Here's the first step. In 2024 presidential election, we must have a debate question. If you win in November, the nation's 250th birthday will fall during your presidency. What do you celebrate about America? What virtues of spirit of America would you put forward for national recognition? I'd be curious how the candidate would answer it. Word vomit from Democrats, I imagine, to hide the fear of appearing patriotic or out of concern for celebrating America as tantamount to embracing her inevitable flaws. Conflict has always been a part of America, as it is part of any family. Sometimes I think we are headed for a national divorce, a breaking point. Past the point of no return, a rallying cry around the 250th could unite us while also identifying those unworthy of elected office, unworthy of America's promise, and undeserving of a taxpayer's salary. A national project about America will bring out what is good about America: life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. We need a massive 4-year operation, bringing some national focus some wholesomeness, and some patriotism back to our nation. We have 4 years. Let's start planning today. This guy was pretty interesting little column here that I actually thought was very fun to read. Um, he had some interesting thoughts in there. He had some good questions. What do we celebrate about America? What do we celebrate about America? I mean, if we're having issues answering that question, we're going to have issues doing almost anything. What virtues of spirit of America would you put forward for national recognition? There's a lot that we could actually put forward for recognition, but anything that we put forward for that recognition, I really don't see it going to be good for all people. There's going to be some massive issues that go along with this. America Shirts, are you with me? America Shirts. Yeah, absolutely, Dragon Man. You have a wonderful night. Sleep well. America Shirts. If you're talking, your microphone's not working. There's something not working. Hello, Daddy. America Shirts. America Shirts. America Shirts. America Shirts. Okay. I don't know what's going on. See, you can see he's here. See, he's here. But yet, maybe not. I really have no clue what's going on. America Shirts, are you with me? America Shirts. Well, hopefully he joins me soon enough to, go through a couple more things here. So let's okay, why? What the heck? This one. Hello? America Shirts. I don't know. Hopefully everything's okay. So here is the Declaration of Independence. I know most of you can't read it. It's too small. Some may not be able to read it because it's in cursive. Lucky for me, I actually have a book that actually has the Declaration of Independence in it. America Shirts, before I move on, is there anything you'd like to say? Wonderful. Sounds great. The Declaration of Independence. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and to assume among the powers of the earth to separate the equal stations in which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Slade, so much for sleeping fireworks on tonight. Oh yeah, absolutely, Slade. We hold these truths to be self evident that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their Creator in certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Probably one of the most popular sections of it. AmericaShirts?
Who?
Oh, you're
Me?
here. About time.
I am,
Oh, okay.
allegedly.
Okay, just as long as you're with me. I read a couple things and asked you a couple questions, and you like said nothing. I'm like,
Well,
oh, okay.
a doggy had to go outside, and then something else came up.
That personal life stuff is always so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah. You can go to hell. What? Anyway. Anywho.
So I'm reading the Declaration of Independence that you can see up on the screen. Can you read that?
Indeed.
Yeah, there you go.
You gotta read with a little more passion there, Koolfrogg. Come on now.
Excuse me?
Passion.
Passion.
Fervor in your voice.
Well, this microphone's not really the best for doing that. I gotta find something that's a little bit better for a microphone, apparently. Let's see here. That to secure the rights, governments and instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as is to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate the government's long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experiences have shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than no right themselves to abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abused and unscrupulous pursuing invariably by the same object evidences, they had some weird English back then. Why we didn't keep up with that, I have no clue. A design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is either right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security, such has been the. I gotta turn the page. The patient sufferances of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and I can't say this word.
Usurpation.
Thank you. All having in direct object the establishment of the absolute tyranny over that states or over these states to oh my lord, to prove this, let's let facts be submitted in the candid world. See, how's that for Slade says, the very elegant style of the English language, I imagine. Who knows what other etiquette was involved? Yeah, right? let's see here. He was refused his assent to laws and most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless these people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He was called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such disillusions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasions from without, the convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for their purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws and establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on the will alone for the tenure of their office and the amount of payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass other people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of legislatures. Having some issues here. He was affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our constitution, and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefit of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing. Hold on. My headset's falling off my head.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right. He has combined with others the subjects such as a jurisdiction foreign to our constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade in all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us with, oh, did I read this already? With our consent, for depriving us, in many cases, of the benefit of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried in pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in the neighboring provinces, establishing therein an arbitrary government in which enlarging its boundaries so as to render it once an example of fit instruments for introducing the same absolute rule into the colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislators and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us to all in all cases whatsoever. He was he has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed our lives of our people. He is at times transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the work of death, dissolution, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy the head of the civilized nation. He was constrained our fellow citizens, taking captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or the fallen themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring in the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of the free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed that their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow those usurpations. I read it right that time. Which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies of war, in peace, friends. We
Oh, that word is
therefore,
consanguinity.
yeah, well, okay, thank you. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America and General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of the intentions due in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies
Are of
are
right and ought to be free and independent states.
right, are and are right, ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved of all allegiances to the British crown, and that
all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that the free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do, and for the support of this declaration, with the firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Boom. Boom.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Now, anybody that hasn't
In
ever
your
read that
face,
and
King
they
George.
just heard what I had said, please go back and reread that. Find it somewhere to reread that and read it again and read it again until it actually sticks. Because there's a lot in there.
Yes, yes.
You know the
men and
thing.
women are created by the, the thing.
Oh, so let's see. What else did I have going on? Did you have anything you want to speak of?
I did not see where Trump announced anything today.
He didn't. I didn't see anything either.
Very disappointed. I think that New York Times article pushed that back.
The New York
Because they
Times.
caught wind of the little birdie that shattered to Roger Stone and then to Alex Jones. And so what they did was decide to come out and say, oh, he's going to have to declare on Independence Day. He's going to have to declare this month, very early this month, because he's doing bad. So if he would have come out and done it today, then the New York Times, oh, look, see, we're right, because he's doing bad. He has to announce early, you see. So they're already trying to catch on. Everybody listen to. Is everybody going to wake up and listen? Like everyone listens to Alex Jones, folks. New York Times listens to Alex Jones for news, so that they can come out and screw with shit.
So
news before it's news, people.
Right? Yeah, I was looking around like all day long, waiting for something to happen, waiting for Trump to actually come out and say that he was going to actually run. Anything from Trump, and I heard zero. I'm like, huh. Apparently, whoever come up with that was wrong. Just wrong. So, because I couldn't come up with that, I was coming up with other things to go along with Independence Day. So I'm like, oh, let's see what else I can actually find, see what I can pull up, see what kind of fun, pictures I can come up with, what kind of songs I can come up with. And there's just a lot to go along with Independence Day. It's great. So like this is Independence Day. Freedom has its life in the hearts, the actions, the spirit of man, and so it must be daily earned and refreshed. Like a flower cut from its life, given roots, it will wither and die. Dwight D. Eisenhower. Okay. I just had some fun stuff. So
I'll pull up a Jefferson quote here after a while. Here, we'll get this some Jefferson quotes there.
Sure. Freedom is never granted; it is earned by each generation, over and over again. Every single generation, it's earned by. And these people stood up and fought for us for a reason. How about how great my annoying neighbors are on Independence Day? The fun one is here in my state, we can't actually, without a license, shoot off fireworks for this week. So like nobody, there was one person that shot off fireworks last night, but I seriously heard like maybe 2 fireworks all night. So I mean, I can feel bad for you, or I can just be like, well, I just don't sleep anyway. There you go. There's the cost of freedom right there. Every single one of them stood up for us to be able to sit here today and enjoy what we're enjoying. Speaking of enjoying things, I enjoyed a parade today. It was great. I actually got to shake Christy Gnome's hand. She was on her horse riding through the parade.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was excited, dude. That was so fun. Oops, I just gave myself away, I think.
On the friggin' horse.
On her horse. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. I looked at the wife and I'm like, the lady on the horse is the governor. And she's like, oh, okay. Fun. She's pretty. The wife doesn't pay attention to anything like that. She doesn't, she really seriously doesn't. But I got to shake her hand. Exciting. Here you go. Here's a George Washington quote for you. A free people ought not only be armed and disciplined, but they have sufficient arms and ammunition to maintain a status of independence from any who might attempt to abuse them, which would include their own government.
Joe Biden, who thinks that that's not a thing.
For whatever reason, he doesn't think it's a thing, but it totally is. We get to actually, if the government stops working for us, not to quote Ronald Reagan, but I will. The government stops working for us, we must replace the government. And that's what we've been refusing to do over and over again for years. What's this? So, our cause is noble. It is the cause of mankind. George Washington, 1779.
Yep, this was seen as a revolutionary act on the world stage. This was an act, as he says here, of mankind. It's a cause for mankind. That all men may have a chance to be free, and that we would be the shining city on a hill, a light unto all nations.
Exactly. So he says our younger generations are probably so illiterate they don't know any of this, which is why we get insufferable woke fools. As far as that goes, it's like, I guess some schools have started to bring it back, but like my oldest, he can't sign his name. He can't read anything in cursive because he was never taught to read or write anything in cursive. And yeah, I have mine written out so that way I can actually read it without issue. But I'd still have no issue if it was in cursive. Maybe not in their cursive because some of it was really, they had a lot of swoops and loops in there or whatever. But for the most, people should be able to read the Declaration of Independence in its natural state, but nobody can.
I mean, that was the intention of the document.
Right.
They did. That's why it's faded, is because they would copy it from the ink. And they would do that from the ink. And they would copy it onto different pieces of paper, and then they would take that. And then they would do they would, in their form and time, of like a carbon copy and spread it all throughout the United States. It was meant to be read, not just to look at.
Exactly. And the refusal of people to actually look at it or even, just pick it up and read it once. I've read this thing so many times And it's still, every single time I read it, something new comes out of it. And yes, I still mispronounce the same word over and over again. Every single time. That U word. It's just one of them.
Usurpation.
Yeah, well.
You ever hear the word usurp?
Are you yelling
Like,
at me?
how dare you usurp my authority? Right? You ever hear that before? Like usurp, like a usurpation? That's what that is.
Fine. I still can't say it. I don't know why. I'll get it. I'll get it one day, maybe. If I try hard enough and I keep continuously reading it, I'll eventually get it right. AmericaShirts is a usurper.
How dare you?
Good one, Slade. So here's a quote. This is honor and justice and humanity forbid us tamely to surrender that freedom which we received from our gallant ancestors and which our innocent posterity have the right to receive from us. We cannot endure the infamy and guilt of resigning succeeding generations to that wretchedness which inevitably awaits them if we basely entail hereditary bondage on them. Thomas Jefferson, 1775.
I mean, and that's absolutely true. I mean, because at the time, I mean, again, you read the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, Slade, you don't get to joke about that. We know the truth. He really is a usurper.
How dare you? But I mean, this was done for future generations because this was tyranny. This wasn't just because, oh, well, that we didn't get to pay our taxes the right way. Or like, they charged too much in taxes. Like, it wasn't just that. I mean, you read it. They were burning down cities. They were quartering soldiers. They were doing all this kind of stuff. Full-blown, out-and-out tyranny over the United States. Because the British needed more money. The British needed more X, Y, or Z. And so American colonies, if they would have let this continue, would have basically been like a giant slave state. And all the people there would have went from being British citizens to just serving at the whim of whatever the crown wants, because everybody in Britain had representation in their parliament, and they had agreements, set up each state, each colony. They can have their own legislatures and, governors and so forth, and judges, and the British government, both the parliament and, of course, the king, was like, yeah, screw it. We need money. We need everything. And if they try to go against us, well, then, they're traitors. It's like, no, you all are the ones that went against us. So we have the right to free ourselves from your tyranny. Because future
should I
generations
read the other quote that's
have,
on the piece? Should I fuck it up? It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created. Oh, well, you know the thing.
all men and women are created by the folks you know the thing.
Slade says, Milton Friedman, I think, stated the biggest regret was tax withholding, which the government definitely abuses these advantages. That's why I moved to the state that I moved to. There's certain things that, yes, our clothing and our food are taxed a little bit more, but there's no income tax. It's freaking great. What in the world? Hey, Sully, what's that supposed to mean? Oh, she's talking like Joe Biden.
That makes
Just
more sense.
putting some rambling thing out there because that's what Joe Biden does.
True pressure.
Talking like Biden. So then here's 2 Corinthians 3:17. And whoever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom.
No, wherever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom.
That's what I said.
You said whoever.
Oh, okay.
It's where,
Thanks,
wherever.
thanks for correcting me. Corn Pop. Corn Pop was a bad dude. Why is this so small? Yeah, let's make it bigger.
And then comes in Clarence Thomas. Hello, Biden. It's me,
It's
Corn
me,
Pop.
Corn Pop. So let's see. What did I was having fun today trying to find stuff for tonight.
I mean, you have to imagine that Clarence Thomas is laughing his ass off every goddamn time that son of a bitch gets up there on the microphone and pulls his stupid shit. Like after the shit that he drug him through in front of the Senate when it was his first, when he was first being put on the Supreme Court. I mean, he has to be like rolling laughing.
Yeah, I really liked this picture too. I thought it was fun. MAGA month. What do you think? You like the picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Patriot Hammer. Oh god, that guy's freaking crazy. If it's who I think it is.
The Patriot Hammer. I'm not positive who it actually is. I just like the picture. I'm like, oh, that's freaking cool. I'm gonna actually take that and I'm gonna use it. Maybe more than once. We'll see. So here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Happy Independence Day. Let us all honor like these men. So it says, by signing the Declaration of Independence, the 56 Americans pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor.
And I mean, and they did, and they. I mean, I think expert talked about this. I mean, a lot of them ended up dying, and their families were slaughtered because they signed their name on the dotted line against the British Crown. So you're done. And they found them and they hunted them down, and they killed several, and they killed all their family.
So it says it was no idle pledge. 9 signers died of wounds during the Revolutionary War. 5 were captured or imprisoned. Wives and children were killed, jailed,
there it is.
mistreated, or left penniless. 12 signers' houses were burned to the ground. 17 lost everything they owned. No singer defected. Their honor, like their nation, remained intact. It was signer. I said singer. I don't know if I had too much left. Oh, there's the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One of the easiest pledges to speak and should still be spoken every day in school before class starts. It's just a straight, simple fact. Anybody that's not doing so, it's really disturbing that they feel it's okay to remove this.
Move to Canada.
Move to Canada. If you're not saying
They
this,
were under the British control for a long time, So just go up there. Problem solved. There you go.
I've asked my children as they went to school, whatever. My oldest is, obviously like 23, going on 24. When he was in school, they didn't. I asked my daughter if they do, and she's in middle school now, and she says they do. I found it awesome that they actually did so. And she says they don't just do it in like every classroom stands up and they do it over the loudspeaker together. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So regardless to who's in the building, they're all going to hear it. And they're all asked to stop and turn facing the flag, no matter where they are. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. If that school's actually doing that, I'm very proud of them for actually doing so and not being pulled into this social justice crap and told that this is a prayer because it says under God. Ass hat. Awesome. Says we say the pledge in school every day.
Sweet. Sweet. Sorry.
Good to know. I'm glad that that's actually something that happens. It's like social jokes, just weirdos.
Beautifully said.
One of my favorite presidents, and I can actually say that because yes, I'm old enough to remember Ronald Reagan actually being president. Let the 4th of July always be a reminder that here in this land, for the first time, it was decided that man is born with certain God given rights, that government is only a convenience created and managed by the people, with no powers of its own except those voluntarily granted to it by the people. We sometimes forget that great truth, and we never should. Happy 4th of July, Ronald Reagan.
All true.
Right. Like this guy was the best. I wanted to actually like pull up some of his actual speeches that were recorded, and everything that I found had music behind it. Some kind of a soft tone of music, so that way it's easier for them to claim. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me! Everything that I've looked up was all had some kind of tone of music behind it. Like, did they do that on purpose?
Sometimes I think I do.
Right, because it's easier to actually pick up music and actually copyright the music as opposed to me. Like this, they're not going to ever be able to actually claim that I actually whatever, and because I actually read it in my own voice. Yeah, I'm reading his words, but
That is if that's your real name and your real voice.
that's okay. Even if I went and I turned on a voice mod and changed my voice, it's still my voice because it's the verbiage coming out of my own mouth. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. JFK. Yeah, absolutely. Good one, Slade. Just kind of look at that. Statue of Liberty.
Wait, is this a picture from a couple of weeks ago? Because last time I checked, according to the libtards on Twitter, the Statue of Liberty was walking back to France. So,
Oh, looks like she's still standing right there. I hope that she hasn't decided to go take a little stroll through the ocean. That'd be horrible.
I just wanted to make sure.
Have you ever been there?
To the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
No.
I've always kind of wanted to go just to check it out. Thought it'd be cool and interesting to see such a thing.
Yep. No, I have not. Have not visited that.
Trump Nation. God bless America. I love that eagle. That eagle's awesome.
Racist.
What the fuck?
This is MAGA country. Get the bleach. And then Trump grabbed the wheel of the car, and then he moved it over. He tried to strangle the man.
I really thought I had a lot more.
Just give me a bit here. I'll get some Jefferson quotes.
I really seriously thought I had a lot more. I'm like, yeah, I got about 2 hours worth of content. Hour and 15. The only the only other thing that I did have was lyrics for America the Beautiful. I figured I'd just read it as like a poem as opposed to actually I'm not going to sing it. And I already
You're
played
not?
this. No, I already played a song at the very beginning, so I can't play that song again. I can play a different song maybe, but each song is
Oh, I
going to
have a
be
different
taken
song.
from me. Each and every song will be taken from me, and that's why I'm like, well, maybe I'll just read it as a poem, and we'll have fun with it, as opposed to it's like I have America the Beautiful, I have This Land Is Your Land, and I'm
Oh
proud to be an
God, the
American.
hippie song. What the hell?
Yeah, the
Koolfrogg?
hippie song. Yeah.
What the hell?
But they're all good songs.
For a hippie.
Well, they're all good songs, and they're fairly patriotic, you know. So that's the reason that I pulled them up. And I figured I'd just leave some pictures up for a while until we got through reading such a thing. Once you find your quotes or whatever, we can totally do that as well. So, are you not interested in me reading these as a poem? Is that something I shouldn't do, or?
I mean, unless you're a hippie. Are you a hippie?
What the hell ever? You want me to try singing them?
I mean, you could. But
Come
the other
on,
one,
Slade.
I don't really
Old
care too much
MacDonald
about
had a
because I'm not a
farm.
hippie.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
There you go. Can't get more American than that, right?
yeah, yo.
It's autocorrect. I'll forgive him.
There's too many O's in there. So AmericaShirts says don't read them as a poem because that would be weird and it'd make me.
Well, no, you can read them as a poem. Just don't read the other one as a poem because that one's for hippies. Unless you're a hippie, of course. If you're a hippie, you can. I'm pretty sure that's a law.
So I
I
should
have to look
read
that up, but I'm pretty sure.
America the Beautiful. Be okay.
Yeah. It's not the
Okay.
hippie song because again, if you're a hippie, then you can read that off. That's fine. But I mean, like if you're not,
Are you a hippie?
No, I'm
Is
not
anybody in chat a hippie? Because if you are, I'll totally read it anyway, just for you.
I have to read the law here if there's any stipulations to that.
There's one person
But,
watching us. How does it say there's one person watching us on Twitch, but Slade's been talking to us on YouTube? What the hell? That's weird.
it's called magic.
Yeah. Well. I could recommend a song that you can read the lyrics for if it's not a problem. Yeah, I mean, if there's something that you'd like, we can totally try figuring something out.
Yeah, we have a big problem with you, Slider Writer, like suggesting shit. Like, what the hell? No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely not. Yeah, whatever. We'll do that one. Should we do that one while we read this? Or should I put something else up there? Put that one up there.
Oh, that one's party and pixelated.
Well, it's because I'm zooming in. You get the point.
It's a thought that counts, Koolfrogg.
Exactly. So I'm going to read America the Beautiful quick here. It says, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. O beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose stern impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God mend thine every flaw, confirm thy soul in self control, thy liberty in law. O beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country love, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success of nobleness and every gain divine. O beautiful for patriots' dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. O beautiful for hal- halcyon skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the enameled plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, till souls wax fair as earth and air and music hearted sea. O beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose stern impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, till paths of wrought through wilds of thought my pilgrim's foot and knee. O beautiful for glory tale of liberating strife, when once and twice for men's avail men lavish precious life. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, till selfish gain no longer strain the banner of the free. O beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human ears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, till nobler men keep once again thy whiter jubilee. There you go. Yeah, right. He goes and dips right then and there. As I'm reading America the Beautiful, you gotta be kidding me, America Shirts. Who do you think you are? It's called Hero of War by Rise Against. Yeah, I can totally do that. That's not a problem. Let me put a different picture up here. Put the manga month one up there. I don't know if I want to wait until America Shirts comes back before I actually do so. Just because of what it is. Or not. I'll just move on. So this is let's see. Here's the Hero of War by Rise Against. He said, "Son, have you seen the world? Well, what would you say if I said that you could? Just carry this gun, you'll even get paid." I said, "That sounds pretty good." Black leather boots, spit shine so bright. They cut off my hair, but it looked all right. We marched and we sang. We all became friends as we learned how to fight. A hero of war, yeah, that's what I'll be. And when I come home, they'll be damn proud of me. I'll carry this flag to the grave if I must, 'cause it's a flag that I love and the flag that I trust. I kicked in the door, I yelled my commands. The children they cried, but I got my man. We took him away, a bag over his face, from his family and his friends. They took off his clothes, they pissed on his hands. I told him to stop, but then I joined in. We beat him with guns and batons, not just once, but again and again. A hero of war, yeah, that's what I'll be. And when I come home, they'll be damn proud of me. I'll carry this flag to the grave if I must, 'cause it's a flag that I love and a flag that I trust. She walked through bullets and haze. I asked her to stop. I begged her to stay, but she pressed on, so I lifted my gun and I fired away. And the shells jumped through the smoke and into the sand that the blood now had soaked. She collapsed with the flag in her hand, a flag white as snow. A hero of war. Is that what you see? Just medals and scars, so damn proud of me. And I brought home that flag. Now it gathers dust, but it's flag that I love, a flag that I trust. He said, "Son, have you seen the world? Well, what would you say if I said that you could?" That's a good song. It's a good song. Awesome. I'm gonna have to actually listen to that um, in its fullness on in music form. So I guess I'll take these ones away because you said that would be weird for me to read those because only hippies would do so. Although I do admit it's more suited for Memorial Day, but still I think it fits for Independence Day. Yeah, it totally fit. It worked. It worked out very well. And I get where you're saying that it would probably work out better for like a Memorial Day thing. Oh, there we go. There's America's shirt.
Hello.
So he goes and he goes and walks away at America the Beautiful, and misses the hero of war. Because why? Oh, he went and changed devices.
Well, that and another thing happened, but yeah.
Yeah, Slade like that. Slade like that. I actually read the hero of war. As you can see, he actually says something about or maybe you can't. He says it's more suited for like a Memorial Day thing or whatever, as opposed to Independence Day. But it still seriously worked and fit. It's a good song. Like I said, I'm gonna have to actually go listen to
Anybody here
the
ever
actual song.
read or ever hear sung all 4 verses of the Star Spangled Banner? Like I know we had the first one. Like you played that a while ago.
What did I? Where did my? Oh, I did the. I played the Stars and Stripes Forever at the very very beginning of the show. But
Oh well, whatever version you had of the Stars and Stripes Forever, I have a better version. That was
oh, you don't, because if you actually
done
go back
live
and
in a
listen
live
to it, you'd be like,
performance.
oh, it was good. It was actually by the United States Army Field Band. They did a wonderful job, and it did
Oh
have
well,
with
yeah, that's pretty
lyrics. So yeah, it was very well done. They did a very good job. I can't play it again because if they do take the song from me, I have one other episode where they tried taking a song from me or whatever, and I played it more than once, and they want to take the whole episode because they're like, "Oh, you played the song 7
But these
times."
are
This and that.
patriotic songs that are done publicly, like by the U.S. Army and by other different individuals. Like this isn't like a copyright. Like copyright who? Joe Biden? Like what the hell? Like
No,
nobody's gonna
right. That's what I'm like.
copyright like the Star Spangled Banner. It's the damn national anthem. Like what the hell? Or like some of these other patriotic songs. Like I mean, God, some of these were candidates for the national anthem. For God's sake. I mean, I'm not like ranting at you. I'm just like
No,
ranting
yeah.
in
If
general.
if
Like
you
what the
have a
hell?
version that you'd like to play, we can totally, do such a thing. I don't have a problem with that.
Let me see. But has anybody ever heard all those verses of the Star Spangled Banner?
Yeah, I was reading them earlier today, and that's why I'm like, oh, wait a minute here. Didn't I have? I must have forgot to save that tab.
I can bring it up. Where the hell did this go? What the hell? Where? Oh, there
This
we
one
go.
I can't actually play the music on, but I wanted to play this because I thought it was fun. While you figure that out, this guy,
Oh God,
he plays to the Ace of Spades.
that's awesome.
We don't want to do that quite yet. But yeah, I thought that was fun.
I have this.
Exactly. That's when I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I gotta totally play that.
That is so good. Yeah.
What?
See that there? That there is the whole Star
No, we
Spangled Banner.
we can't see shit. It's too
Can't.
small. No.
Oh, well, adjust your eyes. Can you see it now?
It's a little better.
How about now?
There you go. Much better. Good job.
How about now?
Well,
See
now
that?
it's too much. Now bring it back out that one notch.
Oh well.
Well, not 3 or 4. Jeez, man. Oh, holy. Wow.
Right, Slade Ritter. Infinite ammo. I know it's freaking awesome. So we all know the first verse of this thing, right? You know, like, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what's so proudly we hail? Like, we all know that one, right? So, like, we go on here. On the shore dimly seen, through the midst of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes, what is that which the breeze or the towering steep, as it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected now shines on the stream. 'Tis the star-spangled banner, oh long may it wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. And where is that band who so valiantly, valiantly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home
There
and a
was no
country,
L. It says vauntingly.
vauntingly, it is vauntingly. What the hell? I thought it was. Sorry. And where is that band who so vauntingly swore havoc of war and the battle, a home and a country should leave us no more? Their blood has washed out. The blood has washed out their foul footsteps' pollution. No refuge could save the hiring and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, thus be it ever when freemen shall stand between their loved home and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto: in God is our trust. And the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. See that there? Our motto, and God is our trust. That's where that comes from, ladies and gentlemen. I had a dumbass pastor one time be like, gee, I wish our Star Spangled Banner had some God mentioned in it. I'm like, well, if you'd read all the damn thing, you might be able to,
Right.
be able to
If you
find that
actually
out.
paid attention, it
You
actually
actually
does.
know what the hell you're saying. Like, you might actually find that out. It is a cool song. It's a great song. That's why it was our national anthem. And the other aspect of that, too, is that no refuge could save the hiring and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star Spangled Banner triumphed away the land of the free and the home of the brave. Talks about that, like the hiring the slave, right? Like it's talking about in reference to, because Francis Scott Key was a lawyer, and he did a lot in his life to try and help to free slaves. And America was that place in which he believed that this can and would happen in its totality. And that's sort of what he.
Exactly, Slade. That's kind of what I was thinking. I bet America Shirts is
I,
thinking
I,
you Taylor
oh,
Swift fan.
excuse me? That's like borderline heresy for like somebody who actually knows what the hell music even is. Like, that's not music. That's called horse shit.
So then,
But here's a Jefferson quote. This is like my favorite quote from Jefferson, and probably one of my favorites amongst the founding fathers. Actually, before I do that one, let's do a little build up. Oh, excuse me, Jiminy criminy, what the hell? Let me see.
that's why he's my co-host, because his rants are the best. Telling you. So then the cool stuff is if I can get myself to be monetized eventually one day, I would actually buy the shirts from AmericaShirts.com, and I would actually wear them on a camera, just
They're
so that
still in
way,
existence, sadly.
if they're still in existence, right?
Here is the quote: "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with with the with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is its natural manure or fertilizer." Nobody quotes that last part from there. Like it is its natural manure. The blood of patriots and tyrants must water the tree of liberty from time to time. Must refresh the tree of liberty from time to time. And indeed, that is true.
Nice.
That comes from a letter from Jefferson to John Adams. Oh, no. Excuse me. William Stevens Smith, the son in law of John Adams. Pardon me. Him and John Adams were very close for a long time, and then, shit happened, and then they went head to head. And then after they both were president, after that, they both became best friends again, and they died on the same day within, I think it was an hour or 2 hours of each other. I mean, that's like, what the hell are the chances of that? Like almost none. It's like a little bit of divine providence to me, as the founders would say. And of course, my all-time favorite Jefferson quote. He says, I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. That is freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
I have to have, like, I'm thinking about, just like getting that framed. I'm gonna put that on a shirt. I'm gonna put that on a
There you
shirt.
go. I was gonna say put that on a shirt. And you're like,
It is
frame
such
what? Put it on a shirt,
it
man.
is such a fantastic quote.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man.
Slade says didn't know they had a falling out of reconciliation after his term.
Oh yeah, yeah. They became BFFs after they both had served as president. They became BFFs again, and then eventually like I said, they passed away the same day, within like an hour or two of each other. Like, that's freaking. And everybody back then, when all that happened, they all basically said like that was like God, like that was divine providence, that these two individuals who had a bit of opposing opinions ish, and then of course it went really bad, and then they came back together. It was like because of their John Adams and Jefferson, two instrumental founders of this country. When they both passed away the same day, within like an hour or two of each other, that everybody recognized that as like that was God. That had that was like, because they were so powerful in this country. It was just both of their times to go, and they both had aged and they both had passed away, like I said, within like an hour or two of each other, and everybody wrote about how that was divine providence, like that was a sign that these people were of God, like what they did was of God, to the point that when they both were so instrumental and they both were friends with each other, that it was like a sign of God, of how instrumental they were, and how the whole founding of the country was of God, was born out of righteousness. And people wrote about that. And of course, again, God's providence in that, again, they were friends. They were best of friends. They came back to being best of friends, and they died on the same day. So they went to heaven to be with the Lord and live in heaven the same day. And people recognized that when it happened. And that was a very, very powerful thing. And they had Independence Day celebrations for the longest time. And I believe, let me look at this again here. Let's see.
That's why
Yes, they died.
that's why I like
They
America
died
Shirts
on
so much. He
July
always
4th.
has something fun, different that I didn't think
That's
of,
right.
didn't bring up.
Today is the date of that. It is July 4th, 1826, when both Jefferson and Adams died on the same day, on Independence Day, July 4th, 1826. Everybody understood that as the passing of these two great men of God, of righteousness, of fighting against tyranny. I mean, you heard the quote from Jefferson. Again, I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. And John Adams has his quotes as well. How even in the Constitutional Convention, he says like this republic requires a moral and religious people. That's a famous quote from him. I have a book of Adams's stuff. I have a book of Washington's, and I have a book about Jefferson. It has quotations from him, and it documents a lot of things from his life, in his political career and so forth. It's called The Jefferson Lies, is what it's called. All the lies you've ever heard about Jefferson.
Oh,
That
they
a
were the
lot of people
last two
believe.
surviving members. That's interesting.
Yes, that was the thing. And it was divine providence. It was of God. They were the last two surviving founding fathers at the time. and they both died on the same day today, July 4th, 1826, within hours of each other. Everyone saw that as like, that was God. There is no way, shape, or form that could have been just a purely natural occurrence. That was a sign of God unto the nation of these men and their influence, and that this was of God. Like, this was, and I mean, you can read like quotes. I have the maxims of George Washington and stuff. Like, you can read all this stuff of like, how this is a righteous revolution. And again, we read it from the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson said it himself there, because he was the author of that Declaration of Independence. And of course Adams was there as well. He was also commissioned along with Jefferson. Of course, Jefferson wrote it, and then Adams, and all them, people helped. But by the Second Continental Congress for the Declaration of Independence, and then they came and ratified it on July 4th. But yeah, this was seen as, and again, Jefferson said it himself in the Declaration of Independence about how, the king was not suited to be a ruler over free people or over a civilized nation for the actions that he had done. I mean, this was a revolution against tyranny itself, over the mind of man, over the hearts of men. This was revolutionary. This is the pinnacle of the Renaissance, if you will. It was the United States, the pinnacle of the good side of what the Enlightenment was supposed to be, what was the Enlightenment could have been at the time, but ended up being there was a dark side to this in the French Revolution. But we had everything good. And you look at all of the different things from different people at the time during the Revolutionary War, and so many journals and documents talk about how, like there's no way we could have either won this battle, or we could have gotten out alive to make it to the next one without the hand of God.
Wow, these guys really aged well for their time that they were around. You wouldn't expect one of them to be 90 and the other one to be 83. Yeah, you just nowadays, 90, 83 or whatever, it seems normal. But
yeah, back then, so you see what I'm saying? Like, that was divine. Like, they both lived to that age, and they both were the last ones around, and then they both died within hours of each other on the same day, on July 4th, Independence Day. Like, so that was a divine
I'm catching something here, and it says Thomas Jefferson still survives, was a quote that Adams had said on his deathbed.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yep.
And he's mistaken. Jefferson had died 5 hours earlier in Monticello.
Yep, 5 hours. That's what it was.
Right. So, I mean, really still within hours.
Right. I forgot that quote. Thank you for bringing that up, because, again, right, it's like, oh, but Jefferson still lives. It's like,
Ultra Mega Mike. What's up, man?
Oh, well, hello.
How's it going?
I'm pretty good, man. How are you?
Cool. It is July the 4th.
It is. My neighbors are setting off fireworks.
Woo!
It's still the 4th for me for another 10-ish minutes.
Hell, it's July 4th all month. Who gives a shit?
All month.
Make a month.
There you go. But I mean, this was a righteous revolution. This was not something that was, just a bunch of people that were just angry because, ooh, taxation. I mean, it was more than that. I mean, it was part of that, but it was more than that. This was a thing of righteousness. This was a righteous act against the tyrannical government, the tyrannical dictatorship of King George III at the time. And what they ended up establishing, and what they knew they wanted to establish, was the first kind of government like what we have today. I mean, it is a worldwide act of revolution against tyranny that had never been done before, that had never been instituted before on the face of the earth. The ideas from John Locke and from Blackstone and from all these other individuals from Britain mostly I mean, for example, like John Locke was asked, like, oh, your treatises of government's pretty cool, but we can't do that here. They asked him where would we be able to institute this kind of government, and of course they read, the two treatises of government by John Locke to have the phrase, and of course for the Declaration of Independence itself they read it, but to have the phrase life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It was life, liberty, and property. But Jefferson changed that to pursuit of happiness, meaning the same thing: the pursuit of property, or the pursuit of what you would want as your property, or happiness being not like make you happy, but happiness is in satisfying yourself with whatever needs you may want, aka property, right? Like it's a backhanded way of saying property, because he didn't want slave owners to say, oh, see, we have a right to property, we want to legally claim our slaves as property, which they did. And so, well, you
the
can't
pursuit of
do that.
happiness might include, say, profession. So being allowed to practice your trade without undue restriction.
Well, yeah, like it's an overall encompassing thing. But the point that I was making, about like that thing, he changed that. So I mean, of course, it's like it's all encompassing. But one of the big reasons why he did that is because he did not want people to be able to use that in the future. I mean, again, because all of this was futuristic. This was a revolution in the world that had never been done before. And they all knew that at the time. They all knew that, and they all recognized that. And they all said, we are having a revolution against tyranny, and we need to make sure we have a government that can, at the most as possible, never be able to have this kind of tyranny over men anymore, to have liberty. And so that's why we have what we have. And Jefferson, and that's one of the lies of Jefferson, is like, oh, Jefferson was a slave owner. Jefferson hated those blacks as peoples. He had sex with that woman in France, and oh, they just had all these babies, and he's just a rapist, allegedly. No, none of that's true. None of that's documented. None of that is historical fact. As a matter of fact, I mean, I can go into all of the different details of that. But Jefferson was against slavery. Jefferson, when he served in the Virginia state legislature, tried to pass laws, make laws to end it. But they didn't allow him to, because, and all of the slaves that Jefferson had were slaves that were given to him as gifts, or they were hereditary. And under Virginia law, where he lived, you could not free those slaves because again, they were hereditary. They were passed down from another family member, or another family member gave them to you, or they were like they'd been born there from them and so forth. If it was a child, whatever. Like they weren't allowed to free those slaves if they were given as a gift or passed down or given over again as from a family member. And Jefferson wanted that to end. And that was one of the things, looking into the future, peering into the future, that seeing that the America had the potential to not only end tyranny, but even end the very practice of slavery on the face of the earth, and see it as the great evil that it is. This was a revolution, a righteous revolution, a godly revolution against tyranny itself. And that is what this all of Independence Day, the Revolutionary War, and then, of course, the Constitution after that, that is what the founders and then, of course, framers had in mind. This is what they wanted. This is what they pushed for. Most of them, there were several, slave-owning peoples from the South that didn't entirely agree with that, but the absolute majority did. And again, the reason that I can say that is that the revolution started with the Boston Tea Party, again in Boston in the North, where when a slave ship came in, the pilgrims that lived there arrested the slavers and then freed the slaves and paid for their trip back. That's America. That's where America started, was in New England, was with the Patriots, was with in that area, and of course extending down even into Pennsylvania. Like that was where America started, and we brought along with us as well the people, the slave owning states from the South who had all of those plantations and so forth. But it didn't start there. And again, that's the argument that the people from like 1619 Project make, is like, oh, it started at Jamestown. No, it didn't start in Jamestown. It started with Plymouth. Started in Plymouth, at Plymouth Rock, with the Pilgrims. That's where America started. That's the heart of America, is with those godly people, with
Yeah,
those
but the
righteous people.
1619 people are just straight out retarded, right? They're like, oh no, Columbus was racist. We need to celebrate those other racist natives who butchered each other for thousands of years before anyone got here. It's not like there's some consistent standard they're pretending to have. They just don't care.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just making the point that that's what some of these people do. But yeah, yeah. Again, this was a righteous revolution. This was something, and you even, again, like I said, you look at some of the things, like for example, the crossing of the Delaware, the famous painting of Washington crossing the Delaware. All of the people on the boat. There was a black guy. There was a so I mean, like pretty much everybody was represented there, actually. Like there was a guy that was a descendant from a like Spanish and native mix from, I believe it was Florida, and he had migrated up north into the colonies at one point, and he ended up fighting in the army, and then he was the one guy that was on the boat. I mean, so people like, oh, like, they're racist, whatever. It's like, I mean, my God, like they had freaking, I mean, if it wasn't for a black dude that
Slade
was
has a question. He says, wasn't the French colonizing the Americas before the British came?
Actually, the Swedish, wasn't the Swedish that was colonized, right? Like New Amsterdam? Oh, no. That was the Dutch, pardon me. The Dutch in New York. And then, I mean, there were several people that had come over. Not in the British colonies per se with the French. The French went in from Canada and then went down through the Mississippi and went up through the Mississippi, in that area in the Louisiana, that area, they went like back and behind the British in the Americas and claimed that as their own with trading posts and so forth. There were other people that had, like the Swedes did colonize one area. Where was it they colonized? Was it New Jersey? The Delaware? I think is where Sweden had a little colony set up. And the Dutch had it in New Amsterdam, which was New York. And the British took everything over in the East. So, but yeah. There were other people that did. But, anywho's, with Washington crossing the Delaware, oh wait, I was talking about the black guy that we wouldn't have won the Revolutionary War if it wasn't for him. He was a double agent. He was a spy for the British. Well, not for the British, for us. And then he pretended to be a spy for the British. So he was a double agent, but he worked for us, not for them. So he went to the British and was like, oh, those mean Americans, they were so mean to me. Oh, no. Can I work for you people? Like, I'd rather be one of your indentured servants than one of those for these people. Oh, these people are so bad. And they just bought it hook, line, and sinker. And he worked his way up with, like, high-level people. And he was their servant, basically. And he wasn't a slave per se, but he was, he served them their drinks, he did things, whatever, and he willingly did it. And he got in there and he got all the info on these people and what their plans were and everything. And they didn't suspect him at all. And he went back and he would tell the Continental Army, he would tell Washington, he'd tell these people, like, they're doing this. And that was when we won at the Battle of oh my God, I just forgot it. It was a battle that won us the Revolutionary War. Son of a
bitch. That one. Yeah, that one. I was busy looking up some of these. What are these? This is Sweden established colonies in Americas in the mid 17th century, 1638 to 1655, including the colony of New Sweden. because people are super smart and know how to come up with different names for things.
Yes, yes, New Sweden. Yes.
Right. New Sweden on the Delaware River, which is now Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. Dutch colonies. Again, super smart, intelligent people. The Netherlands began to colonize the Americas and establish the trading. Which preceded much wider known colonization activities of the Dutch of Asia. While the first Dutch fort in Asia was built in 1600, the first forts and settlements along the river of. Why are they telling me about that? I don't care. I asked about the Americas, fuckers. In 1602, the Republic of the Seventh United Netherlands chartered a young and eager Dutch East India Company. So, I mean, there it is, New Netherland.
Yes, you know.
Which they say is by 1610. So I mean, the Dutch were here first.
That's why New York has the blue, white, and orange flag for New York City, is because it's supposed to be New Amsterdam. It's supposed to be. Sometimes you'll hear things like that talked about, but it's there's a little bit of a Dutch thing going on there. But back to the thing I was talking about. The guy that I'm talking about, and let me see if I can find his name too. But it was the Battle of Yorktown. That's what I was thinking of.
Was it the Battle of Yorktown? Because Battle of Yorktown in the Battle of Yorktown proved to be a decisive engagement in the American Revolution. The British surrendered. Forecast the end of the British rule of the colonies with the birth of the new nation, the United States of America. How it ended. American victory outfought during 3-week siege in which they sustained great losses. British troops surrounded. I kind of already read some of this stuff off of the other article that I read earlier. But yeah, Battle of Yorktown.
Yes, his name, there it is. James Armistead Lafayette was his name.
There's a lot of things that are named after that guy.
Lafayette. Well,
Lafayette.
He was the servant, the freed slave, and then sort of I believe he was even a friend of Lafayette, who was the French guy that everything's named after. So he actually took his name, Lafayette. So James Armistead Lafayette took the last name of his former master that freed him. Oh God, what's his first name? Because I know his last name's Lafayette, the French general Lafayette.
Marquis de Lafayette.
Yeah. And so this guy obviously is black. And he went behind enemy lines, like I said, faked that he was a slave that ran away, and they just bought it hook, line, and sinker, and he worked his way up to the top. I mean, obviously, it's not an easy job being a spy. I mean, like, you got to be secret. You got to, get the message out to and fro, right? But he did it, and he was super successful at it, to the point that if it wasn't for him, we would not have won the Battle of Yorktown, because we wouldn't have known that the British were going to come in and do the thing that they were going to do there at Yorktown, and we wouldn't have been able to have the French come in from behind and then trap them in there and then swarm them in. We swarmed them in from the land, and the French swarmed them in from the sea and then trapped them right there, and they were donezoed. We would not have the information to be able to do that and surprise them like that and just swarm them and trap them like that if it wasn't for a freaking black guy named James Armistead Lafayette. Battle of Yorktown, the end of the Revolutionary War, would not have happened if it wasn't for a black man. giving us the information that we needed.
Fun. Good to know.
There you go, people.
Good to know that we weren't always considered racist. That's fun.
I mean, anyone who considers the US to be a racist country just has never been anywhere else.
Right?
That's literally the only way you could ever have thought that any time in history.
But most people don't know that story. Most people are not aware of that story at all. And it's vital.
It's a good story.
It is. And it's, it's a uniting story, and it helps people to understand the true history of the country. And again, I mean, it's a fantastic story. It shows that the United States, from its inception, wanted to end tyranny in every form and fashion, including slavery. And here we have the Battle of Yorktown, where Washington receives the sword from Cornwall. And if I can get a bigger picture, this is a bigger one. Is that one a little better? I don't know.
Very pixelated and grainy.
Oi. Well, here, let me pull up another one. But Cornwall was so humiliated that he did not go out to hand over Washington his sword when it was a surrender. It's kind of like Hillary Clinton not coming out on the stage whenever she was beat by Donald Trump. That was that kind of the situation where this bastard was just like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I am not even. So he didn't even go out to hand over his sword. And if I can do, let's see. Surrender. Oh, can I find a beautiful painting of this here? Big painting of this. Can we make this El Largo? Okay, this will probably work. Just to show.
El Largo? The hell is that?
It's large in Portuguese. Not really. I don't know what the hell.
What? How many languages do you think that you kind of cannot speak?
I can speak everything. I'm just kidding. But like, if you see these people standing here, right? Like these people in red, the red coats here, these individuals here, they're just sort of, lower level soldiers. And Washington's there with his hand extended, like, okay, hand over the sword. Right, like right there, his hand. Right, you see that he's handing for the sword, because once the general hands over his sword, that was like a symbol of like official surrender. And the general didn't even come out; he was still out on the boat, and he was like, "Screw
to
this."
Answer Slade's question about the French before the British, yes, they were 1534. Where?
Ye.
It says they colonized the New World. The French established forts and settlements that would become such cities as Quebec, Montreal, Detroit,
and
Green
Canada.
Bay, St. Louis, Cape Girardeau, Mobile, Biloxi, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans. They had a whole ton of territory that they actually settled before.
That's Quebec. That's the French. That's why the French are there in Canada, and why they're the oddballs. Other than the British, everybody else in the country in Canada speaks English, is because that was the French. That was were French settlers,
Right.
And then the British took over after the French and Indian War, and that was a huge hullabaloo, because it was like, well, we're Frenchies, y'all's British. The hell, like, this isn't gonna work. And so there has been a bit of a back and forth sort of hostility, albeit not all that violent all the time, but that's why they still are like, no, we speak French, and
Yeah, let's do this here real quick, just to
And I believe this is the French on this side here. If you see the white, right? Like a lot of people don't understand. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Keep your screen up. You don't have to take it away. It's fine. But yeah, you can see in the blue was France. The red here was Great Britain. The purple was territory ceded by France to Great Britain in the Treaty of Utrecht. And then look at Spain. They had Florida and what is most of Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, part of Colorado, some of Utah.
Yeah, they had California too. This map is not entirely accurate, but gives you a good idea.
Well, this is the map of North America of 1656 to 1750. That's why. This is because this is what they had all the way up until 1750. After 1750, yeah, things changed. Interesting.
Yeah. Yep. But if you see the white there, the white flag, that's the French. The French had a white flag. Sometimes you'll see the royalty for the French flag with the golden fleuret or fleur-de-lis, or is that how you say that?
Fleur-de-lis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll see that that's like for more like royal events or whatever the hell I think is what that was. But the French themselves, they had a white flag. Most people don't like, you see white flag, it's like, oh, he surrendered. It's like, well, Frenchies had a white flag. And so that's why you see on both sides there the Americans and the French, and then the British come up to hand over the sword there. And because again, they were sort of, the painting kind of symbolizes this whole event, and obviously they're the British kind of being surrounded. So yeah, that's the French there in the darker blue, and then in the more navy colored blue is the Continental Army, of course with the American flag there. So good old Betsy Ross there. Yeah, the 1820 painting of the British surrender to American and French forces at Yorktown. So that's what that is. That's what that's all about. And that wouldn't have happened unless it was for James Alterman Lafayette. Or no, Alterman. What the hell is the name? I just forgot it. Forgot it again. I always forget his name. I always remember James Lafayette, but I keep forgetting his middle name.
It's fine. It's just a middle name.
Armistead Lafayette. There you go. And if I'll throw a picture up. I don't think I threw a picture of him. There are depictions of this man. Here is a painting of this individual. And if I can find... there he is in an outfit there. But yeah, I have that shared if you pull that up there.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. There you go.
There he is. Senor James Armistead Lafayette. Right there, double spy, double agent there. There he is in a fancy outfit there with his coat of many colors almost, pretty much there. You can see that. By the way, that is not what slaves wore, just to let you know. That's not something slave. They didn't have that kind of fancy outfits there. Look at that
Are you
hat.
sure?
Holy crap. That hat's fancier than his because he didn't even have one on.
Bright red colors. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. That was not a thing that you just handed over like, the average everyday slave. Here's a bust of him.
Nice.
Here was his former master that freed him, because he was given over to him and he freed him. Marquis Lafayette, who was again the French general and helped us in the American Revolution. Here's another picture of this dude. There's a I guess this is a book, A Spy Called James, story of James Lafayette, double agent. So, yeah. And here's Lafayette himself, Marquis Lafayette. Humanity has won its battle. Liberty now has a country. Marquis de Lafayette.
Nice.
Lafayette was honored in this country for quite a long time, and still is as a place of honor. There's a big portrait of him. I believe it's in the Capitol building. He is held in high esteem in American history. Unfortunately, though, he went back to France, to the French Revolution there, and did not make a very good name of himself after that, because the French Revolution screwed him up royally.
So then,
but
because of everything that had occurred in, with the Revolutionary War and how things had gone, and what, over the years, we've gone to celebrate with fireworks. Like, everybody shoots off fireworks on the 4th for some reason, somewhere, and it's like there's always fireworks going off on the 4th. Just to kind of break away from the mundane of us talking about, all these different historical figures.
Mundane.
Well, it seems as though we're not really, picking up so much of an audience. So,
well, when you're explaining things, and this is something that I have come to understand myself, is that a lot of times when you're explaining a lot of things that people don't understand or know about, they just kind of sit there in silence and go, "Oh, really? I didn't know that."
Well,
and just listen.
It still says that there's only one person watching us. Thank you, Slade. You're the best.
Yeah, whoever's missing out on this is like, God, the hell's wrong with you? Missing out on all kinds of good stuff.
So we always celebrate with fireworks. And what better to watch at the end of a show than failures of people lighting off fireworks?
Oh, no.
Right. They all celebrate with fireworks, but they know nothing of the history of the country or the point of Independence Day whatsoever. My neighbors do. Oh, my Lord, do they know? It's great. They had a big party today.
Oh, yeah. It's always great. I was on the experts earlier in the comments, and I'd said I had taken a drive, and I was driving around here in the evening and just watching this like procession. I was like in this procession of other vehicles, and like there's this fireworks going off all over all the sides of the road, all over everybody's houses. Like, you look back off from the road, and like there's like fireworks going off like every other like every 6 feet. It seemed like certain places just like pow 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 boom boom, like everywhere. That's awesome. Like off in the distance, it's kind of a break, and then it's just like, oh no!
Did you see this guy?
No, but you can see his hand. Oh my God!
He's just lighting it. That's all he's doing. For whatever reason, in his bedroom,
in a Pikachu,
lighting this thing.
The Pikachu is trying to have all of its orifices blow out freaking fireworks.
Every orifice that you can think of.
Beautiful.
So then they're like, this is live. He's he's live.
Oh my God!
Seriously live.
Worse.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat in the corner.
Holy shit! It's crazy. Oh my God! Pikachu's out for your.
You thought it was over. Pikachu was out for fucking blood.
He's like,
oh look, there's the fire department.
A firework went off, then it just like went boom. Like
the firework went off and it just went
boom.
Like, It just started going up, like black stuff.
Look at the chat. It's like moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
A firework went out, then it just like went boom. Like it's I don't know.
It's like, what the hell did you think was going to happen? Like, take notes. Pikachu fountain, $13. I mean, like, why didn't you throw it out the window or something? And there's the Pikachu spinning around.
Look, it spins. That's what it's supposed to do. The dude lit the shit off in his bedroom, live streaming. Live stream this shit.
Oh my god.
So I had caught one.
Pikachu's out for freaking blood.
No, I'm kind of confused.
Pikachu just
because
turns and jumps after him.
seriously, one of them, he goes and he's like, Mom steps in the room and she's like, stop streaming. I was just like, you gotta be fucking with me right now.
What did he expect to happen? Like, what was his plan?
That's what I'm saying. If there was one where Mom comes in and she says, stop streaming. And he says something like, I thought it was just gonna pop or something. It was gonna crack. It was gonna be one of those cracklers. And it's like, what? Look at how big this thing, and look at all different orifices that are on it. What do you think's gonna happen?
Oh my god.
Oh my lord, I'd laugh so freaking hard. So then I was looking for fails, is what I was looking for. This guy pulls over to the side of the road to see that there was a car accident that was happening on the other side of the highway. That's what happened. There was a car accident and there was a car full of fireworks.
Holy shit!
What?
What?
This is the tail end of a vehicle accident. One of the cars was carrying a box of fireworks. They ignited. Everyone survived. I'm thinking everyone needs to carry a box of fireworks, so when an accident occurs, you have something to look forward to.
Oh my god. I mean, hey, happy
what's up,
4th of
Jimmy
July.
YouTube?
Yo, yo, Jimmy.
Like I said, I was looking for fails.
Oh no.
He's like, hey, let's light this thing off that's gonna fly.
It's not going to go anywhere. Up. Whoa! Uh-oh. Oh my god.
Oh, it went in a
Direct
window. Direct hit.
I mean, could you imagine? It's just like, oh my god, we're being invaded. Like, like it's like you're sitting in there in your living room, just like watching something on TV, and it's just like this thing just goes through, like crashes through and like blows up in your room, and like, holy shit.
Sadly, everything that I looked for, everything was like super short in length, other than dude that lights off the Pikachu.
Whoa! Holy shit!
Do you hear what he says?
No.
Oh, okay, I'll turn it up. He says Allah Akbar. Boom.
my god!
And
Drunk
again,
party.
the garage door's closed. Why are you doing this in an enclosed room?
Because they're drunk as
Are
shit.
you a
Probably.
freaking moron?
I mean, apparently they're doing this with like an empty beer case.
And I didn't really find any other one. That's all I could find. But the Pikachu one was like, oh my god, I can play that thing over and over again. That's so freaking.
Oh my god, it's so fun. I'm shocked Jimmy YouTube does not have anything to say about this.
Oh wait, hold on here. The box, this box
my
that's
God.
tipped on its side says "Ring of Fire."
Perfect idea to light it off.
There's just so many other fireworks in the room. It's amazing that nothing.
Oh,
The Pikachu jumping for him is still the best part of that.
I know. It's like the Pikachu just goes like whoosh, like right there.
He reaches for it. He grabs it. See, there's his hand.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, you see, here's his arm in his
Yeah, there
hand. He grabbed it. He
Oh.
grabbed it and knocked it out of the way because he's like, oh shit. It's still going. That's him. See, you can see his arm enter the screen and boom, he hits it.
Oh, because it's like shooting into the box of fireworks.
Right. He's like, oh shit, I gotta move this. Because I would assume that if that thing continued to spin and finish what it was supposed to do right there, that the rest of those fireworks would have definitely gotten something would have lit.
Then there would have been a
And
bigger
exploded, and you would have-
fireworks display.
You would have had this huge random set of explosions going boom, 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 boom. Everything would have just gone. He would have been done. I bet his mom takes away his computer. I'm surprised he had the guts to actually go reach at it and toss it to the floor. Jimmy YouTube, what's up, man? Are you still with us?
Your silence rings hollow.
Yeah, see, and I picked up a bunch of Philadelphia stuff. Oh, Margie Taylor Greene had something to say about it. Yeah, we won't get into that quite yet. We have to have a better day for something to happen there.
Yeah.
Being that
For
stuff
which
that we had
thing?
already covered for today. The shooting in both. This one here is that I had on the screen there. That was Philadelphia. Apparently, during the fireworks display, somebody shot, and I guess it was two cops. If I caught that correct, I don't want to quote it correctly or not, but apparently, yeah, that was the second shooting today. Because the earlier one was the young man that was in Chicago area or whatever, Highland
Young
Park.
man, are you sure he was human? He
Well,
looked like he was like part demon to me. But we
He
won't get into that.
He was something, but yeah, if we get into it, then we're just gonna bury it
Right.
behind everything that we did today. So we don't want to really bury that kind of stuff. Anybody else got some firework explosions that went bad?
I don't like of recent.
Yeah, I just put in firework accidents, and that's the stuff that I came up with. With those, there's a couple other ones. There's like a guy that blows off his hand in Florida.
Holy shit!
Here, this one. This one was. This is an anniversary, 10-year anniversary of the largest set of fireworks to ever go off. They let off like 7,000 fireworks at once. I believe it was an
Oh my God.
accident. That was perfect.
That was perfect. Holy shit. I mean, look, it's like a giant freaking mushroom cloud. It's like a bomb went off. Like, you know, it's like the Air Force is like, we got a problem we got to look into here. Like,
So it says happy 10-year anniversary of the greatest fireworks show in history. It shot off 7,000 fireworks at once. I couldn't imagine all that money going up in one. Just boom, done. You're like, well, that was fun. Because you know dang well that would have been exciting as hell to be sitting there thinking that you're going to sit there for 15, 20 minutes and you're going to catch this long drawn out 7,000 fireworks going off to actually just seeing this. So then let's see here. Here's this one that says the man has a blown off in Florida fireworks accident. It's like, oh, I actually clicked on it and see that's from 5 hours ago. I actually clicked on it and I was looking at it, and you could see his left hand, I believe, his whole thumb was pretty much separated from the rest of his hand and hanging.
oh my God.
Yeah, right. I'm like, dang.
Well, that sucks.
I got into a car accident on my way to a fireworks show. I am miraculously okay, but my car is very not okay. I cannot articulate enough how much this could ruin my life. Well, yeah, I suppose. You just fucked up your car. Now you don't have a car to get to work.
Oh man.
This is when someone has a fireworks accident. Okay, so then there's the dude that goes and shoots that off and launches it into the other building. Like,
Oh, he didn't aim that at all. It just like did that.
no, it just did that. Right. He had no control of any of that. He just all he was doing was lighting it.
We have direct hit.
And he's like, he's sitting, you imagine he's like
Military's like hired.
good 4 or 5 stories high, thinking that he's going to be okay. I'm just going to light this thing off.
Aims
And
it
then it
straight
goes-
up. Nope. It decides to fly sideways into his neighbors.
into the neighboring building's open window.
I mean, like, what are the chances? Like, right? It's like,
I couldn't imagine being that guy that was sitting in that apartment and seeing this thing come flying into my window and go boom. You're like, shit.
I mean, you think you got bombed or something, like, like freaking military attack. Oh my God, Koolfrogg.
Mom. See, look at this.
Oh my God.
Different forms of people losing fingers, mangling their
It's
hands.
fireworks season. Oh
It's
my God.
fireworks season.
Oh my God. What the hell are these people doing?
I would guess some
Being-
of these they blew up in their hand.
Being dumbasses and holding on to fireworks for too long. When you light that shit, let it go. Or don't hold on to it. Or
Just don't have it in your hand in the first place, like
Right.
an idiot.
See, like this guy is 1, 2, 3 digits. The other 2 are way over here. I mean,
I think that's a problem.
Yeah, like blew off his pointer finger.
every single one of these is a problem. I couldn't imagine actually doing something so stupid.
That mill one could make the live long and prosper sign really well now.
Oh.
Oh, it just says that it ended abruptly in Scissortail Park. No finale. Then an ambulance went down the street. Did an accident happen? Gee, I wonder.
I don't know what happened. Did something happen?
What? Didn't catch it in time, but almost had an accident where someone's head got hit by a firework. I couldn't imagine getting hit in the head with firework. That would suck.
I mean, maybe. Might just kill you pretty quickly.
Ask the police officers in freaking
Oh, this
Portland
guy.
and LA or wherever the hell I do it.
Oh, yeah, they do
Oh
that
no,
here.
doggy!
Cha-cha! Oh, cha-cha!
Oh my god!
Cha-cha! Cha-cha! Oh, cha-cha! Oh! Oh my God!
Oh my god!
And this is from February, so it wasn't like it just happened today or anything.
The dog just comes over and just like ruins it all.
Why he was lighting off fireworks in February is beyond me, but whatever. Good for him. Each year, 19,000 fires are ignited by fireworks. Yeah, great.
I mean, that's like half of why California ends up with huge forest fires. The other half is their power company.
What the hell are these damn unpatriotic freaks doing? Playing some goddamn whatever the hell other song instead of a patriotic songs. Like I don't understand this. I was listening to some of this today, and I flipped it to the Fox News station because they had the fireworks going off in DC, and I wanted to see that a little bit. And they had the damnedest, shittiest renditions of patriotic songs, and then the rest of it was just some damn stupid other weird ass shit. I'm like, why the hell can't anyone do some damn patriotic music? For the love of God, you can go onto YouTube and there's like 3 hours long of just straight patriotic music, all of which are all different songs too. Like, what the hell?
Oh, damn. Oh, it's his
To
Belgrade.
celebrate withdrawal from Snake Island. What?
Let's see one. See, that's when I'm like, oh, really? There's not that many fails out there. Car accident. They just keep on bringing up the same shit. Boy dies in Mount Vernon firework accident. 11-year-old. An hour ago.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
That sucks. That's why you leave it to the professionals.
Yeah, drunk adults.
Hey, if they're drunk and they did something stupid and they whatever, yeah, let it be. They were stupid. But yeah, I'm just not seeing anything else that was more fun than dude lighting up Pikachu. You know dang well he's gonna go down as the most retarded person ever with lighting
My
off
God.
fireworks.
I mean, there's been some other great Twitch moments. Like somebody accidentally shot their desk playing with a gun.
Oh my God.
They just like pointed and pulled the trigger, and then were shocked it went off. It's like,
So my other question on this here, I seriously have another question. Dude's
no.
sitting here in shorts. He has no shirt on and he's live streaming. What is he doing?
I mean, is that lotion next to him?
That sure kind of looks like it, doesn't it? The look on his face as he lights it, he's like, oh. So he's like a big smile on his face. He lights it and he's like, oh, oh shit. Ah!
I had noticed it like went out for a moment before it just like went all the way. That's good. Ray's like, oh, that's it.
Oh, he's like, oh, it just popped and cracked a little bit, and then all of a sudden, poof, there's nothing. It's just smoke. More smoke. Oh shit. Oh shit. Ah. Oh my god. All right. You guys have nothing else. Oh, that's what gets me the most is his sudden change in facial expression. Yeah, absolutely. That 7-second change of happy go lucky, so happy. He's like, I'm just gonna light this. He's like, oh damn. Oh, it's just a fountain. Damn, this fountain's getting big. Oh shit. It went out. Oh, it's smoking. Oh. Oh my.
What is the thought process? So I'm gonna get this Pikachu out and I'm gonna light it in my bedroom.
He screamed for his mom. Where was Dad? Still getting a pack of cigarettes?
Oh my god.
Oh, AmericaShirts, tell me you got something that you want to share, man.
Yes, before we skedaddle our way out, I guess, this is my favorite well, not rendition per se, but like this is my favorite performance that I found thus far of the Stars and Stripes Forever. It says this is called, the video is called The Stars and Stripes Forever with 94 piccolos.
Nice.
And of course, a piccolo, if you don't know what a piccolo is, it is a very short and high-pitched version of a flute relative to the fife, which is a wind instrument, which again looks like a very short flute that puts off very high-pitched noises. And of course, the fife is the thing that like you hear, like, you know, like the really high-pitched wind instrument noises when you hear like Revolutionary War type music, or like, you know, like American Independence Day music. That's from the fife, and the piccolo is something that is a relative of that instrument. So here we go. Emerson Symphony Center in Dallas.
Hey, Jules.
That guy there, I think, has a fife, actually. It looks brown, like wood. Wait for it. Everybody in the back.
Nice. Okay, to play us out. Everybody say goodbye.
Oh, well, okay. Let it peeps.
Good night.
Later. Make sure that you subscribe to all of us.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses.
Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam.
In full glory reflected, now shines on the screen. 'Tis the star.